Good afternoon, marvelous math students. This is Mr. Grant coming to you from the void, and I wanted to take a few minutes and show you how I expect you to turn in your knowledge checks, like quizzes, and your independent practice, our homework. What I did is I did some various screenshots and video recordings from my phone because I know most of us will be using our phones to do this. And then as I touch on various pieces, you guys can of course pause the video and make sure you have the app downloaded, make sure you have Wi-Fi, everything like that. But go ahead and either follow along or watch a piece and then shift back and forth between your apps. We'll see what we can do. So I am recording this video in my OneNote app on my computer. But I'm going to show you what OneNote will also look like on your phone and why I like to use it. So here we go. First thing you're going to want to do is open your Teams app. If you do not have Teams on your phone, you must download Teams on your phone. If your parents control what you download, A, good for them, that's important, but B, please get their permission to download Teams. You can play this video for them and say, this is my math teacher, he says I have to have Teams. You need to have Teams. That is our hub, our communication center for pretty much every class you're going to take this year and for the foreseeable future. Once you have Teams downloaded, please go ahead and open it. In order to log in, your username, commonly abbreviated U/N, is going to be your student ID at washoschools.org. Remember, all students are .org, all teachers are .net. I'm not sure why there's a difference, but I'm sure there's a reason, and so that's what it is. So your 7-digit student ID at washoschools.org, and then your password is whatever password you use to log into the computers. It is not your Infinite Campus password. So there are only 2 passwords you should need for school this year. You should need first an Infinite Campus password so you can check grades. You should have that app as well. And then the only other password you should need really all year long is the one to get into Teams. All right, now you have hopefully successfully logged into Teams, and you should see something that looks like this on your phone. I'm using dark mode because I find it more aesthetically pleasing, but you can pick whatever you'd like. You can alter it up here. You see a list of all my teams. You will probably have fewer teams than this. You can hide teams over here if you would like, but I'm just going to quickly demonstrate how we're going to be turning in our knowledge checks that we do in class and our independent practice that we do at home. So first thing I did is I selected my first period class and then general. When you click General, it takes you to your General tab in first period, and I've done my best to blank out any sort of identifying information for students, but hopefully I didn't miss anything. If I did, let me know so I can go back through and edit it. So either way, you'll see the Posts page first. It always defaults to Posts. Just as a side note, if you click on the Files tab here, it's going to open up all of our documents that we use in class all year long. I have all your blank guided notes in there. Those are the notes that we fill out each day in class. So if you're ever absent, you do need to go to the Files section, open it up, take a look at those blank note sheets in there. Let's say that you're absent and I tell you that you're missing lesson 1.4. You need to go to Files, and then you'll go to Topic 1, and then Guided Notes, and lesson 1.4. Now if you have a printer, you can print that out. If you don't have a printer, that's okay. You can just get a sheet of paper. And on that sheet of paper, you'll need to do the notes. You don't need to copy the whole notes page, but anytime we do a problem or write down something important, you need to write it down. Now you might be saying, well, wait, how can I write down all of those notes? I don't know how to do it. That's your job to teach me. Well, don't forget that if you click the More tab, and I'm going to show you what that looks like down below, you're going to see a whole bunch of additional options. In particular, the one that's important for you if you're absent is the Videos tab. This Videos tab is a link to my YouTube playlist, and it has all of the videos that take you through the notes for the entire year for your class. So if you click into it, it's going to tell you, and you're still doing that lesson 1.4, you'll click into videos, you'll choose lesson 1.4, and then I will go through the guided notes with you so you can stay caught up. Now, again, that was a side note. We are still going to click this More tab, though, for today. If you're following along on your phone, you should see this page. And we are going to go to the class notebook. The class notebook is where all of our digital turn-in items are going to live. When you click on class notebook, at first you're going to get a blank screen like this guy. And then one of two things will happen. If you have the app Microsoft OneNote on your phone already, you're going to skip down and you're going to see something like this. We'll get back there in a second. However, if you don't have OneNote installed, it's going to open your App Store and you will need to either download or get the OneNote app. It is free, so this is the second of two apps that is required for my class, Teams and OneNote. It is the same if you are working at home on a computer. These apps are free. If you go to the Microsoft App Store, you can download OneNote and download Teams for free. You're going to download OneNote, open it, and you'll have to click Getting Started a couple times. That'll do the usual permissions. You can accept or deny them. And then you probably won't see anything relevant to this class. So once you've installed OneNote, you want to go back to these same steps. You want to go back to Teams, back to More, back to Class Notebook. And then when you hit Class Notebook, you'll do the blank screen, and then it's going to force open OneNote. So now I'm out of Teams. See, I can go back to Teams, and I'm in OneNote. What's going to happen is it will open your relevant class notebook. In this case, I'm in first period Algebra 1, so you're going to see this on your phone. You'll need to click into that, and just as a heads up, now that you have forced OneNote to load first period Algebra 1, you can skip all the steps up here. Next time you want to get to your class notebook, just open OneNote, and it will open straight here. So now that you're in OneNote, you're going to click your class, first period. You won't be able to see these other periods. And you're going to see a few things on here. You're going to see the collaboration space, the content library. You will not see teacher only because you're not a teacher. And then you're going to see your name. We'll pretend that that is your name right there. Okay. All the rest of these are student names. I'm looking at this from a teacher perspective, so I can see every student account. You are just going to see 1, 2, 3 things here. That's it. What are the 3 things that you see? The collaboration space is usually disabled, and I've disabled mine as well. That's where anybody can post anything and you can all see it in all of our class. And so let's say maybe we were collaborating on a certain project and Jace wanted to turn in something, but Emily wanted to turn in something else, and you could all put it on the same page. The content library is very important. The content library is where our completed guided notes live. So let's say that you get home and you're like, wow, we went over that lesson 1.4 in class and I forgot to write down these couple steps and they're pretty important. Well, if you open up Content Library, you're going to see Topic 1, and if you click into that, you'll see all of the notes that we complete in class so that you can write down anything that you missed. Again, your other option if you miss any of the notes is choosing that Videos tab and watching Lesson 1.4. All right, the last part for today then is actually how to turn in your notes or your homework or your quizzes. So go ahead and click on your name wherever it is, okay? And it's going to open 4 subsections: class notes, independent practice, knowledge checks, and exams. The the class notes are optional. You can choose to turn in your class notes digitally or not, unless you're absent. If you're absent, you do have to turn those in so I can make sure that you've done them. If you're in class, I know you've done them because I've been walking around class making sure that you've accomplished them. Now, many of my students like to turn in their class notes so that they always have a digital copy, right? So that way, because you can use your notes on your knowledge checks, which are your quizzes, some students will forget their notes at home, but they're like, oh, I have a digital copy. I can open this, and I will let you. I can open OneNote and use my notes here. So you can carry those digital copies of your notes anywhere. The second folder is for your independent practice. This is your homework, right? You're practicing independently of the teacher and your peers. It is your responsibility to turn in your homework on time. So if you do lesson 1.4's homework and then the next day you show up to class and you've forgotten to turn it in, you can still turn it in there. There's no problem at all. If you turn in your independent practice late, please just send me an email so that I know to check it. It does turn bold on my side if you've turned in something and I haven't clicked into it, but sometimes I miss that. The knowledge checks are where each day in class we turn in our quizzes. We do a quiz almost every day in class, 1 to 2 questions. At the end of the quiz, we correct it, and then you quickly take a picture and turn it into the knowledge check section. If you don't have a phone in class, that's okay. I can take a picture from my phone and upload it for you. So knowledge checks are in class. Independent practice needs to be turned in at home. If you don't have a phone that has OneNote because your phone is too old or you just don't have a phone, you can also use a computer or your parents' device to turn in your homework. If you don't have a device at home, please let me know so that I can get one checked out to you. Okay, so now let's go ahead and see what actually happens, or how to do this. So I'm going to click on Independent Practice, and that's going to take us right here. You'll notice that this student has already turned in lesson 1.1, 1.2, and 1.4. However, they're missing 1.3. Well, let's say that at some point they want to go through and turn in 1.3, maybe they forgot. These are each individual pages. If I open one, it will open the actual picture. The student needs to hit the plus button. Once you hit the plus button, I actually have a brief video to demonstrate what happens. This screen recording I'm going to talk over looks like it's been filmed with a potato because for some reason when you insert a video link to OneNote, it decreases the quality massively, but that's okay. So let's go ahead. I'm going to hit play and pause things as they go through, and we'll see if this works. All right, we're looking okay here. Maybe. There we go. So the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to have the title up above. So you're going to title this page. I called it test page. Then you're going to click underneath, and we need to go back because, gosh, I went too quickly there. And we also get a whole set of ads. Can I go back? I think so. Great. After the test page, you're going to click underneath it and then choose the photo button. The photo button is going to let you insert that page. Then we're going to take a picture. And then I'm actually going to take 2 pictures. I didn't have a document available, so I took one of my desktop wallpaper. And then I realized I had another picture, so I chose Add New at the bottom. Add New is going to add a second picture. It already says there's one. I took a picture of my dirty keyboard. I cleaned that after. And then I'm going to hit Done. When I hit Done, hey, look, I have 2 photos inserted into my test page. All right, so I'm going to click out of that and scroll around. So now instead of these 3, I'm going to see 4 of them with the test page. When you click into the test page, you will see both of those pictures. Now the reason I like you to use OneNote is because I can see those pictures and I can write on them the same way that I'm writing on these. When I open up my library, I can see my first period class, and when I click into first period, I'm not going to because you'll see everyone's name. That's a violation of privacy. I can see the pictures you turned in, and I can give you feedback, especially on your quizzes, your knowledge checks. I can say, you actually misgraded this, and this one should be an extra point, and you should have gotten 5 out of 6, not the 4 out of 6. You did better. And you can see that feedback immediately. As soon as you put a photo into OneNote, it should sync through the server to anybody else that's looking at the same page. Now, sometimes it doesn't sync right away. And when I go to grade these, I'm going to see that there's no 1.3 on here. And so I'm going to mark that as missing. But if that happens, there's 2 things that you'll need to do. First, you'll need to make sure that you actually submitted 1.3. If you didn't, you still have the hard copy. I don't collect any of these papers. So just take a picture, make it 1.3, and email me and say, hey, I turned in 1.3. Would you mind checking it off? No problem. The other option, though, is maybe on your phone or your computer, 1.3 is actually there. If it's on your device but I can't see it, then what probably happened is the Wi-Fi or cell signal or whatever you were using wasn't very good there and it didn't sync properly. So if you do ever need to force sync a page that you can see but for some reason I marked as missing, I made one more screen recording of this. It's pretty easy. You just want to click into that page, and when you click into the page, so here's my page right now. There are the 3 dots here, and you just have to choose that sync now that you just saw. It says syncing at the top, and then it's done, right? It will go ahead and finish from there. And if it doesn't say any error, then the sync is perfect and I should be just fine. Sometimes that happens with our Wi-Fi at school. So if you have any questions about how to turn this in, if you need a device, if you have any concerns, please feel free to contact me. If you're out sick because of COVID or anything else and you haven't done this before, please try this at home so that you're up to date and ready to go by the time you're back in class. Thank you for tuning in, and I'm excited to help you keep succeeding throughout this year.